So not
She
these
said, "Don't even
places.
touch." She said, "Don't even touch it,"
Don't
which
even
was
touch it.
which was a step further than
Right.
the instruction. But
then he convinced her and said, "Okay, if you eat of it, you're gonna be like me, knowing being as
Good
God and
and
knowing good
evil.
and evil." Now, after he threw his pitch out there, then she saw the tree to be something else, right? Desirable,
Desirable,
pleasing.
pleasing to the eyes,
Okay.
all of those things.
See?
And when I go to that story, then I think about how we respond to things in culture. I think about everything that we hold value to, and the things that we hold value to, how does it make us behave? That's the trigger. The trigger is, how does it make us behave? I see you cutting your eyes over there, Dale. And I know that means you want to say something. But the reality is the effect on behavior is what people don't realize is a choice of lordship. For example, you talk about the story where Christ is interacting with Peter. And Peter says, he asks, "Who do people say that I am?" Right? Then he goes on to say, "Who do you say that I am?" And then Peter says, "You're the Christ, the Son of the living God." Then Christ goes on to say, "Flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in heaven." And then a few verses later, Peter gets in an argument with Christ about him being crucified.
Yes.
And Jesus has to say to Peter, "Get thee behind me, Satan."
Yeah, to chastise him. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is a signature of influence, because it's the source of where that came from. The first one, the source was my Father in heaven revealed that to you. The second one had to be who?
Well, we know who had to be.
Exactly.
The opposition.
So
let me ask you something. Because you say choice.
Exactly.
Is he playing towards choice, or is he playing towards desire?
I think desires drive choices.
They do.
So when you desire something strong enough, you tend to make choices that align with those desires. That's why it's so important when we talk about scripturally renewing our minds, because renewing our minds is supposed to help us to have different desires. That's the purpose of renewing your mind. So what's going on with him in that particular case, and what goes on with a lot of people, is we're driven by something that we desire, but we're not looking at that thing and say, what is it bringing out of me? Who am I submitting to in that desire? Because the reason why Joshua says choose, the scripture talks about, I'm going to choose to serve my house. Me and my house are going to choose to serve the Lord, right? And the scripture says, choose this day whom you shall serve. Right. This is a constant battle. It's not a one-time thing where we say, okay, I'm going to submit to God and I'm done. No, every day you're going to be propositioned, and you're going to be constantly propositioned with choices. And the more you choose to submit to something that's not of God, the more you're choosing to submit to something that's in opposition to God. And that's what we don't realize, because we don't realize our choices bring about submission.
Well, that's culture.
Okay.
Yeah. And
talk to me about that a little bit.
Influence control culture.
So what about, let's bring up something current. What about, was Cassie influenced?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
You don't think Cassie was influenced?
No. You think she done what was she did?
Okay.
She was like
I'm saying this, and now we know we're talking about Diddy right now. So was Cassie influenced? Did you say Cassie was not influenced to you? You don't think Puffy's money and influence had anything to do with her submitting to that kind of a lifestyle in some way?
No, I think people want, that's already in their mind.